Hello, testing one, two, three, testing. Boleh bagi, wait, wait. Sekejap. Sekejap, I nak buat reminder sekejap. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam UiTM di hatiku. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Visiting Professor Talk entitled Online Learning, a Student-Centric Approach organized by the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, Cawangan, Pulau Pinang. I am Dian Azianti Atira, binti Muhammad Asri, your MC for this session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the sharing session, allow us to showcase a video on the introduction of Iowa State University.
A new beginning. A catalyst for discovery. A springboard for your future. This is a time to explore new ideas and redefine yourself. To see the world through new eyes and hear voices different than your own. This is a time to take risks and know you're fully supported. This is time to create, to innovate, to challenge the conventional. Make an impact, raise the bar. This is your time to shine and become the best you possible. Iowa State University is where this new adventure begins. Iowa State is a place that inspires you to follow your heart and blaze a path that's all your own. So create your own adventure at Iowa State University. Unlimited opportunities to challenge yourself and change the world.
Okay, thank you for the clip. And with that, allow me to introduce a little bit about Prof. Aaron. If I would have more time, it is my pleasure to read out all about her achievements, contribution, and publications. I'm totally amazed. It's actually a long list, by the way. And Prof. Aaron is a professor in hospitality management from Department of Apparel, Events, and Hospitality Management in Iowa State University in United States. She is also the inaugural director of Iowa State Online. Professor Aaron is a registered dietitian and a fellow of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. She has served the education communities for many years in the areas of teaching and research, in which we hope to exchange some knowledge while she is here with us in Penang. She has supervised more than 27 doctoral students as for to date. As we gather here today, we are not just welcoming a professor to our campus. We are welcoming a wealth of knowledge, experience, and innovations that will undoubtedly enrich our academic community. Prof. Aaron has dedicated her life to pushing the boundaries of knowledge, and her work has left an indelible mark on hospitality management. We are eager to hear your insights, learn from your experience, and engage in meaningful dialogues that will shape the future of our institutions. Once again, on behalf of Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management UiTM Pulau Pinang, I extend a warm and hearty welcome to Professor Aaron. We are excited to embark on this intellectual journey with you and looking forward to this session. And let us now join in a round of applause to welcome Professor Aaron to our university.
Well, first of all, thank you for that very wonderful introduction. I had to look around and say, who is she introducing? I don't know that person. So thank you very much. I want to thank you for the lovely introduction and thank you for the kind invitation to join you here in Penang. Welcome to all of you in our audience that are here face to face. And because of the beauty of online, welcome to all of you who are joining us online as well. Today, I'll be sharing some information about online learning, one of my passion areas. I do want to acknowledge that Sarah Marchetti, our Assistant Provost and Executive Director for our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching, also contributed to this presentation. This is the outline for today. As I go through this presentation, thank you. Okay. I'll talk about a few definitions and background. I'm going to talk about some variables that affect student satisfaction with online learning. There are lots of them, so I will just cover the surface. I want to share with you the reorganization that we went through at Iowa State University to help support a student-centric approach to online learning. And I'll briefly touch on new trending area related to AI. We will have some time at the end for Q&A. So what is student-centric? This is a quote. Student-centric learning is an educational philosophy or approach to learning that places students' needs and interests at the forefront of the operations and decision-making of any school or institution. So it's really putting that student first as compared to maybe what the instructor wants. That may be related to time of day when the course is offered. That may be related to how long the classes are. Well, when I talk about online learning, I want to set a bit of a framework here. First of all, when we talk about the online learner, there are many different online learners. So at Iowa State University, we offer online courses. Those online courses may be taken by our undergraduate students, and it allows them flexibility in their schedule, meaning that if they leave for an internship or a co-op opportunity, they still can take coursework while they might be out of the state, getting the practical experience, but they can still complete their degree on time. Okay. So that's our what we might refer to as our residential student. Modalities at Iowa State. I've only put two up here, hybrid, right? So we have partially online, partially face-to-face, as compared to that fully online programs. So those students that never come to our campus. Okay, with that framework, I also want to speak a little bit about what we see as this new online learner. Generally, at least what we are seeing in the United States, Our learners that are in online programs are generally a bit older as compared to our residential student, who oftentimes will come straight from high school to our university or institution. They may have delayed the start of college or school. They had life events maybe that happened, so they did not come right away. Oftentimes they are working. They might be working full-time or part-time jobs. They might be single parents trying to raise children on their own. And they may not have a high school diploma. And so getting that, what we refer to as the GED prior to coming to an online program, is a prerequisite at our university. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about some variables that affect student satisfaction in online learning. This is just a few of those variables that affect student satisfaction. This by no way is a comprehensive list of those. I'll talk about each of these in more depth. First, student characteristics. Certainly the academic background that a student brings to the online learning environment is crucial. Have they had previous academic experience? What about relevant experience related to prior experiences with online courses? Maybe they've never taken an online course. Now you might say, well, how could that be? We just had COVID. Well, if these new learners were not in higher education at the time during COVID, they may not have ever experienced an online course. Skills matter. What skills do they have related to time management? Because again, as I said, our new learner in this environment, at least what we're seeing in the United States, is that they are juggling lots of other priorities. Oftentimes they may have a family, they may be working full-time, and so school is not their priority oftentimes. So time management is key. And computer confidence. Certainly the students that we have now at our institutions, I don't know about you, but my students that I have, their computer confidence is 1,000 times more than my computer confidence. But again, our new online learner is often not the age of the students that we have at our residential campuses. Work commitments, I mentioned before, and certainly support systems. What support systems do they have in place to allow them time to complete their online curriculum? Another variable that seems to affect student satisfaction and is bore out in the literature is related to the perceptions of the institution. So does the institution have a supportive environment for online learning? Does the university embrace online learning, or is it solely committed to more face-to-face residential teaching? And a lot of times this is driven by our faculty members and how our faculty members perceive and embrace online learning. I know here we've been talking a little bit about all the online learning opportunities that you offer your students. So it appears you have a culture that has embraced online learning. That's not at every institution, particularly those that have been historically face-to-face residential campuses, have invested lots of money into their infrastructure of their campus, their buildings, and the like. In addition, students look at what is going to be my return on investment or my return on tuition. So if I invest in this online program, I invest my time, I invest my money, what is my return? Will I have opportunities for career advancement or opportunities to change my career? Maybe I want to look at a different area for my career. In the United States, we have several employers who offer employee reimbursement to participate in advancing their education. So that is one of the, I think, benefits for working for some companies in the United States, that they support students in going back to get further education to help and advance their careers. I would be remiss if I did not talk about course design. Course design, the way courses are structured, the way they look, the way they feel online to the student is extremely important and impacts their overall satisfaction with their online learning experience. Is the learner content interactive? So do students and learners have an opportunity to engage with the material and help them learn that material? Do the instructional materials use media? Or is it just someone lecturing and the lectures are being recorded? And so limiting that engagement of the student. My own daughter just completed an online degree in a master's business program, and I always found it intriguing to observe her on some days when she would watch pre-recorded lectures. And I don't know if any of you have watched pre-recorded lectures, but one of the things my daughter does every time that I've observed her is she puts it on that 2 times or 4 times the rate so she can get through the lecture faster. So again, we need to remember these things, and how can we engage our students in that content despite the fact that it is not a face-to-face class. Course delivery, so what learning management system are we using to help deliver those courses? At Iowa State, we use Canvas. That is consistent across the entire university for our 4 credit offerings. And so within that course delivery, how is the content organized? Are students aware of what the expectations are for completing that course? What evaluation or assessment procedures are going to be used? Technical issues are always a concern because our students are not on campus, do not have the same IT resources. Technological issues do come about. And we do have a central tech support system for our students that they can access whether they're on campus or off campus. But what is interesting oftentimes to me, because I am now working in our Iowa State Online, the inquiries that we often get from students at the beginning of the semester, they believe is a technological issue or it's something wrong with their computer. And oftentimes it's the case that the instructor has not released or posted the course for them to be able to see the course. So it's not an error on their part. It's just that they're expecting the course to be available to them prior to the semester. And oftentimes we start our online courses and may not even allow students to access them until the first day of the semester, right? So again, it's setting those expectations, letting students know what to expect in that online environment. Class size may have implications for online courses as well, particularly if you're doing group work. From a student perspective, and certainly from a faculty member perspective, the enrollment in your online classes has impact on you as well, whether that be grading, whether that be keeping up on discussions. Okay, I'm still talking about those variables that affect student satisfaction in the online environment. Faculty and instructor support also affects student satisfaction in the online environment. Now, I hope you are saying to yourself, this is no different than face-to-face. Students want communication with their instructors. They want instructors to give them feedback. They want their assignments graded on time, and they want to know what those grades are from those assignments. They want to have somebody that has experience in teaching the course, someone who's knowledgeable about the subject area. They want a competent facilitator, a competent instructor. So as I look at these are no different than what our students would expect in a face-to-face class, right? Now, to assist students and to help them be as successful as possible in that online environment. And again, I'm going to remind, I'm really talking about students in those fully online programs, those that do not come to our campus. We have student support services for them, and I'll talk specifically about what we offer at Iowa State, but I want to first talk about what the research tells us. Okay, so what we know from the research is that students in the online environment need student support. They need these student services to be successful. We often refer to these as wraparound services. Okay, so student wraparound services. As an instructor, I think it's most important that students attend my course and that they do well in my course. But in the online environment, much like our face-to-face environment, students need that additional support to be successful. That may mean career services, so help with career planning or job searches once they've completed or as they're completing their degree. Academic services, things like, can they find information about the program easily on the website? Do they know what the curriculum is? Do they know what courses to register for the next semester? Do they have an advisor that can assist them? And is that advisor easily accessible? And does that advisor have online office hours or appointments that they can attend? And are the library resources available online? So do those students that are taking online programs have the same resources as those that are on our campuses going to those face-to-face classes? Is there a help desk? So it's a virtual help desk, right? It's not that physical help desk. And are there convenient times for them? So again, knowing that our learners in this space in the United States are oftentimes working full-time, do they have supports after normal work or business hours? Is there someone there at 7 o'clock at night that they can ask questions to? Is there someone there? Maybe they're doing their work at midnight because that's when they have time to do it. They're done with their family obligations, they're done with their work obligations, and now they can sit down and finally get to their coursework. Is there somebody at the institution that can help them if they encounter any problems? Is there instructional support? That might be an orientation. So is there an online orientation for them to learn about what instructional support is available, as well as tutoring opportunities? We offer tutoring to our on-campus students. Is there also opportunities to offer tutoring for our online students? Enrollment services, again, are these available to our online students, or are we set up as an institution where students need to physically go to a building related to financial aid or admissions? Do we have these available for them in the online space? Billing and payment is always a challenge for students, and irrespective of face-to-face or online, and we want to do whatever we can to mitigate those challenges for them to understand their bills, pay their bills, and have the financial means and understanding so there are no surprises when they do get their bills. I also have online counseling here. This has been a space near and dear to my heart related to health and wellness of student being. And at Iowa State University, we have a real push in this area and services for our students. But again, do institutions have the same support for their online students as they do for those students that are on campus? I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm watching my clock here as I go, so I want to make sure that I'm staying on track and we have enough time for the Q&A at the end. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I just talked a bit about what are the variables that may affect student satisfaction in online programs. Talked about several variables, and that's not all of them. When I started this presentation, I had about 12 more slides in that section, but wanted to narrow them. So just a flavor of the variables that affect student satisfaction in the online environment. I'm going to shift now and talk a little bit about our reorganization structure at Iowa State University to have a more student-centric approach for our students in those online programs. At Iowa State University, we are primarily a residential campus. We have over 30,000 students, and again, primarily residential. A little over 600 of those are in online programs. Okay, so you can see the proportion. So it has been a paradigm shift for our institution to start to think more strategically about those students, those learners in that online environment. To that end, we did a full reorganization and restructure. Prior to January 3rd, 2023, not too many months ago, we had 3 units across our campus that handled distance education or online. Okay, those were housed in the particular colleges. So we had one of these college online units in my college, the College of Human Sciences. We had one in our College of Ag and Life Sciences, and then we had another one that served 2 other colleges, our Liberal Arts and Science College and our Engineering College. You should get to 4 colleges. At Iowa State University, we have more than 4 colleges. So there were colleges that weren't being served and students that weren't necessarily being served by these units. We did a centralization. We combined these units into one that we now call Iowa State Online. I will start by saying we are not a Purdue Global. We are not an Arizona State. We are not a Western Governors. We are Iowa State Online. We are a service unit to the entire university. And our goal is not to change all courses, all programs on campus to online. Our goal is to strategically grow in the online environment. This is our new structure. We are within the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. This is an unusual structure. Most universities in the United States do not have their online unit housed within their Center for Excellence of Learning and Teaching. We are committed to quality in the online environment, and so it makes sense for us to be in the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. With this reorganization, our center went from about 13 employees to, I think today we're at about 45 employees. If we look at numbers from where we were before, so when we look like this to when we look like this, our numbers are about the same. Okay, so we have not added any full-time equivalents in doing this restructure. So now within our Center for Excellence of Learning and Teaching, we have 4 distinct units. Iowa State Online is the area that I lead up. We have our enterprise instructional technology. These are the folks that do the behind the scene things related to our Canvas, related to our LTIs. We have our course design and quality. These are all our instructional designers that assist in developing those courses, and our instructor development. Hopefully, as you look at this and you see the arrows, you see that we all must work together to be successful. So right now we're looking at launching several new online programs at Iowa State. We all 4 units work together to do this. In my area in Iowa State Online, we have kind of 3 sub areas. So I have marketing and branding development. We have student support. And then we also have our professional development area. That's the non-credit space. This has been, I always say, the slide says 2 years in the making. It's been a lot longer than that. But in earnest, we've really focused and had a lot of movement in the past 2 years to get us to where we are at today. We had the Board of Regents, our governing body in the state of Iowa, that asked us to move forward with this. We had several task force and committees at the university to get us to where we are at today. It's been a very thoughtful and strategic process with bumps along the way, as you might expect. So why did we do this? Well, this lists all the reasons that we did it. We wanted to create a university-wide unit for online course and online program design and delivery so that we had consistency. We wanted to have greater support for our students and faculty. Again, going back to that student-centric approach. We wanted to have a unified brand for Iowa State's online programs. When we were very decentralized, the look and feel of courses, the look and feel of online programs was really determined by the department or by the college. Our goal is so that any student that comes to any Iowa State online course or online program, it looks the same. It's set up the same so that the comfort level with the way that it's structured is consistent. We're focused on program innovation and market development tailored to our Iowa businesses and our Iowa employees. We are looking to provide workforce development to our Iowa industries and assist particularly our adult learners and those who may want to complete their degrees. So those that may have started college but stopped out and may want to come back and complete. This is our homepage for Iowa State Online. I'm very proud of this. Many of our employees did not start until January 3rd, but we had a small number of employees who started a couple months before that, and we were ready on January 3rd to launch our website. So this is our homepage, and again, I'm trying to focus on that student-centric, so we have a tab with student support, and in our student support area, we have online student processes and procedures, resources, and then we have an area for FAQ. Related to those student support services, and I talked about those as being one variable that impacts student satisfaction. So at Iowa State, at present, these are all those wraparound services that we have to support our online learner, our fully online learner. We have telecounseling available to our students. We have writing, speaking resources available to our students in these online programs. We have skills coaching. We have financial aid advising sessions that are available to them in a virtual environment. as well as evening and weekend tech support. So again, we recognize these online learners are not necessarily 8 to 5. They're doing things that are not within our normal business hours. We have student accessibility services as well. So just a listing of some of the wraparound services we provide to our online learners. One of the first things we did after Iowa State Online was launched is we said, we need some benchmark data. I like to use data to help make decisions. We call that data-driven decision making. And we had never before, it may sound a bit odd, done a survey of all of our students in online programs. You might be reminded we were very decentralized. Some of those decentralized units did surveys of their students, others didn't. So this was the very first time that we surveyed all of those students in those online programs. We wanted to hear from them. We wanted to get a sense of what they were using as far as services and were they satisfied with their experience. So we developed a survey in collaboration with several partners, including our graduate college, because again, the majority of our programs are in that graduate space. And we sent the survey out to all of our students at that time, about 737 of them. Not surprising, any of you who have done survey research, we didn't have a 100% response rate, but we had a fairly good response rate, 24%. And again, for doing this the first time, we felt pretty good about that. I want to share with you some of the results of that survey. This is just the demographics. Again, not surprising. Most of our programs in the online space are at the graduate level. So the respondents mirror that. We had 85% of our respondents were at the graduate level. And this is very telling and interesting to me. I think it was as well to those that are in Iowa State Online, but we wanted to know why they were pursuing an online degree. So why did they even think about coming to Iowa State? Well, as you can see, and I'm trying to catch up with my notes here, the largest number of respondents said they were coming and getting their online degree because they wanted to advance their career. The next largest number of respondents said they are doing this online because it allows them flexibility. And the third largest number of respondents said this was a personal goal for them. That's why they were pursuing this degree. We wanted to know how prepared were they coming into this online program. So we asked them, did you understand the amount of time and self-discipline required when you started? And I think we were pretty happy with this. 79% said they agreed or somewhat agreed. Online learning requires a lot of self-discipline, self-motivation to complete it. It is not the same as face-to-face, right? So they don't come to class and the instructor sees them in class and they engage in class. They know they need to come to class. Online learning is much more self-discipline required. This slide gets to that sense of belonging. We know with online learning, oftentimes learners do not feel that same sense of belonging and connectedness to their institution. So we wanted to know, do you feel connected to Iowa State University? And you see about 53% said they either strongly agree or somewhat agree. This to us is an area where we are focusing. We want every single online student, so any student in an online program, to say they feel like they are a cyclone. Okay, we are the cyclones at Iowa State. So we want them to feel that they belong to the institution the same as any student that is our residential student. So we are really doing efforts in this area. Did they feel satisfied with their online student experience? About 71%, if we add those together, said, yeah, they strongly agree or somewhat agree. Overall suggestions from the students from this survey, and again, I just did very high level, but we asked them many more questions, and we asked them a lot of open-ended questions. And for those of you that do survey research like I do, oftentimes when you ask an open-ended question, respondents don't answer it because they don't want to take the time. Students answered these open-ended questions, and sometimes they wrote paragraphs, which tells us they were thrilled that we were asking for their opinions and their perceptions of online learning. So overall, related to those open-ended questions, there were some main themes that came through. Students suggested aspects related to consistent course offerings. I don't know about your institution, but at our institution, we have minimum enrollment numbers, okay? And if we don't meet those minimum enrollment numbers, then courses are canceled. And so students were saying, we want to make sure that the courses are going to be offered and that we can plan in advance which courses we are taking. Again, these learners have other things happening in their lives that are more priority to them than their online program. So they need to plan and they need to know what's forthcoming. Online exams and proctoring. This is a real, what we call hot button for us at Iowa State University. We have instructors who hold the belief that students need to be proctored in the online environment, and this puts an additional burden on students to find online proctors. And not only is the burden to find one, but also it costs them money to find and to hire these individuals that are approved proctors. We are working on this at Iowa State. How can we make this more student-centric while still efficiently and effectively assessing student learning? We are looking at orientation for new students in these online programs. This is one thing the students said. We would have liked an orientation specific to us. We are different than your students that are residential. So we need our own orientation. I find this one, I always smile when I see this one because I am an instructor and I teach in the online environment. But the student said, we need instructors to understand us. We're different. We're not like your residential student. We are not between the ages of 18 and 22. We are older. We have other things happening in our lives. And so students voiced that. They need instructors to understand that. And they wanted to feel connected to Iowa State. That's that feeling of belonging. That's a little bit about what we did with the restructure, what we're learning from our students. I've been asked to speak briefly about kind of the new trends related to AI and kind of intersect with online learning. To do this, I'm first going to say that artificial intelligence is not new to us, but I think it is moving and technology is moving at a more rapid pace, maybe that it has ever before. I have a quote. We've never seen a technology move as fast as AI and has to impact society and technology. This is by far the fastest moving technology that we ever tracked in the term of its impact, and we're just getting started. I think we hear a lot about ChatGPT. there's a lot of other AI and AR platforms out there. I'm going to share with you briefly what we're doing at Iowa State University. Again, this is not necessarily specific to our online learner, but it has application to our online space. Again, this illustrates this area is moving faster than ever. This is a link to all the AI tools and news, and it is updated every single day. And if you check it in the morning and you check it at night, you'll see 10, 20, 30 more entries here. Again, this is moving very rapidly. As an instructor, I think our question becomes, and I'm looking out because I see lots of instructors in our audience here today. I think our question becomes, how can we ensure that our students are still learning when we can no longer assume that the ideas they come up with, the research that they present, or the very words that they write have been generated by their own brain? I think that's really the question that this comes down to. We want students to generate their own ideas. We want students to submit their own works so that we can accurately assess their learning. So how do we do this with all the other helps, you say that in quotes, helps that may be out there? I'm going to present some strategies for instructors. Again, we do not have time in our very, very short time today to talk about this in depth. And I certainly can share many, many more resources with you. Certainly assignments and assessments. We need to have clear learning objectives for those, provide scaffolding to our students, and examine our due dates. As I look at this, my head goes immediately to we want to deter them in any way possible from looking for easy ways to find scaffolding, find helps, and that may be going to AI, or that may be going to a classmate, right? So we want to be very clear in our expectations, very clear in our assignments. We want to make sure due dates are realistic so they're not cramming, which is oftentimes when we don't do our best work. I know I don't do my best work when I'm cramming. And give them the tools that they need to be successful in completing that assessment. Again, this first set is no different than face-to-face. I think the next one, we want to adapt existing assignments so that it, again, deters students from using AI. So we want to make sure the written work is specific to course materials. What does that mean? Well, it might mean that I have a speaker that comes and I videotape that speaker, or maybe it's a synchronous session and the speaker and the students are online at the same time, and the students ask questions, the speaker gives response, and the students write a reflection paper. That might be awful hard to do to get AI assistance with that, because the speaker is going to gear their talk to what the students ask and the particular content or topic area for that course. The other best practice is certainly if you're asking students to write any type of paper that uses references, is to make sure that they provide that reference list. And then we've talked about this in our center, but how can we use AI to improve learning? So that might be having students generate something through AI and then say, okay, now you make it better. Okay, so an opportunity to maybe embrace AI as well. I've got about 2 minutes before we need to go to questioning. So at Iowa State University, we encompass this or put this in our academic integrity area. And we have developed tutorials for students on academic integrity. And what I have listed here are the student objectives related to that tutorial on academic integrity. And you'll see things like they need to be able to define what academic integrity is. They need to know what misconduct looks like, because how can they determine if they've done it if they don't even know what it is? They need to know what effective strategies there are to support academic integrity, and where they find the code of conduct. I've just took a snapshot of what the contents of that tutorial are, but I think as you scroll down with your eyes, you see things on there like falsification and fabrication. You see things like resubmitting coursework, practicing academic integrity, and there's also a lot of examples in the tutorial. I myself find examples very helpful, but it shows students, okay, here's original text, and here's what it looks like when you plagiarize, and here's how you correctly direct quote. We also have resources related to Chegg and students using Chegg and those other, online resources that they can find to maybe do their homework. And so have lots of information about that as well. So I've been asked to wrap up about 10:30. So in summation, student-centric strategies for online learning are varied, and we need to tailor to our own student population. Our student population is likely different than your student population. The way in which our institutions are structured and the culture of our institutions can support a student-centric approach. I think the opposite side of that is they can also hinder a student-centric approach. Technology advances will continue and therein require changes in our online teaching and learning approaches, just like they do in our face-to-face. At 10:31, I will open it up for any questions and comments that you may have, and I think we have about 8-9 minutes for that.
Hello. Okay, thank you, Prof. Arendt. As we draw this discussion to a close, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Prof. Arendt for your time today, and please stay on the stage for the Q&A sessions. And many thanks also to all the audience for the attention. Today, it's been a privilege to share these informations and engage in intellectual discourse with such an attentive and inquisitive audience. And I believe that the audience are now very excited to enroll into an online program that was offered just now by Iowa State University, especially on doctor program, because when isn't it interesting if like say that you are graduated from Iowa State University, but you are not still in your home country? Isn't it interesting, right? And then, therefore, we would like to play additional videos on Iowa State University to arouse your interest and your excitement. Maybe you can have a bigger idea or bigger overview on the Iowa State University. Please enjoy. Thank you.
If you ask an Iowa State student why they came to Iowa State, one of the top reasons is always the beautiful campus. Look at this place. And the instant you step onto the university grounds, you can see all the beauty Iowa State has to offer, from green spaces to historic buildings to beautiful works of art. Everyone has their favorite spot on campus. Let's hear from Jorge to tell us his.
Thanks, Alex. Howdy, y'all. When looking at universities, my decision ultimately came down to the place that would amaze me every time. I remember being flown from Houston to Iowa State to tour the campus, and when I walked out of the Memorial Union, was left completely speechless. To this day, campus continues to amaze me with its amazing views through each season. From the blooming flowers of spring to the snowy fields of winter, I felt right at home. Central Campus is a great spot to study, read, and take a nap. And then there's the Campanile, which looks amazing at any time of day. During the academic year, a music professor climbs to the top of the Campanile each weekday to play the carillon over the noon hour. You can even submit song requests. Iowa State was selected as a medallion site by the American Society of Landscape Architects. It shares this honor with places like the Grand Canyon and Central Park in New York City. Our campus has also been named one of the top 25 most beautiful campuses in the book, The Campus as a Work of Art. There are more than 2,000 works of public art on Iowa State's campus, making our university home to one of the largest campus public art programs in the United States. Be sure to check out the Grant Wood murals and the Christian Peterson sculptures all around campus, including the George Washington Carver sculpture celebrating Iowa State's first Black student and later faculty member. My time here at Iowa State has taught me so much about just how welcoming a college campus can be. I am proud to call Iowa State's beautiful campus home, and there's so much more to explore, Alex. Back to you.
Jorge, there is a lot to explore on this beautiful campus. There are so many great sights to enjoy during all 4 seasons. What beautiful scenery. It makes the perfect setting for your time at college. That was great.
The College of Human Sciences at Iowa State University, expanding human potential, improving people's lives.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the clip. I believe that it is to feel more welcome and more connected when watching the videos. Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us proceed to the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please raise up your hand, or we have an open mic here. We have like few mics here. One, okay, I think the other side. And also for those who's currently watching this on YouTube streaming, you can also post your questions and we'll read out the question and I will send the questions to Prof. Aaron. Okay, any questions from the floor?
Hello? All right. Okay. Hi, Prof. Try? All right. Okay. Hi, Prof. I have to write this down so it's more proper for the streaming. Okay. So we are talking about the student-centric approach in creating the courses, in creating the content for the learners. So my question is in regards to the earlier surveys that surveys as well as citations that you presented to us just now in regards to the satisfaction on behalf of the students towards the online learning. My question is that as we are dealing not only with the older generations for online learning, perhaps we mostly are dealing with the Gen Zs, the younger generations, and so with the social medias such as TikTok being the most influential platforms nowadays, do you think among the variables that dictate the satisfaction levels among the students, could it be, is there any evidence suggesting that the designing of the interface of the platforms as well as the style of delivery could be uh, one or two of the biggest variables that should be considered when we are creating the courses for our current market? Not only for the older generation, but also the Generation Z, as I mentioned just now. So my question is in regards of the style of designing as well as the method of the delivery. That is my question. Thank you.
Long questions.
Yeah, great question. So the question comes, what is most important to students, right? And that's going to depend on your student population. But I think, as you said, the method of delivery is important. At our university, we have one platform that we use for delivery. I think the design element, or what we might refer to the course design element, is also extremely important, and targeting your audience. So when you talked about TikTok, you're talking about targeting your audience, right? I think engaging material or content, whatever way that is, that engages your audience and meets your audience, is good. And students want that engaging material, or the way in which it's delivered. I was reminded as you were talking about that, we have this word edutainment, and I always think of TikTok as kind of, yes, could you use TikTok for edutainment? And yeah, I think so, right? Just like I use different techniques in my face-to-face class as edutainment, okay? We can do that in the online environment as well. So bottom line is, yes, students, we want to engage our students. We need to gear it towards the audience that are in our courses. And I think, as you indicated, those are two of the most important for students. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Before I take the questions from the floor, let me read it because I have like 3 or 4 questions posed on YouTube Live. Okay. The first question: Hello, Prof. What is one of the quickest ways for course developers to know whether their content is student-centric or not?
I love this question. Thank you for thank you for those, for whoever asked it. What's the quickest way to learn? Ask your students. Ask your students. Do a little plus delta midway through the course. What do they like? What don't they like? How are they doing? To gauge. So ask our students.
So please ask your students. All right. So maybe we can take another questions from the floor before I proceed with another 2 questions from YouTube streaming.
Hi, Prof. I have a question. For the first time instructor, in order to develop or to design online course, how do we decide the duration, the length of the course offered to the online learners And then how do we engage the learners environment? Because physically we also have a face-to-face class in the daily works, and then we have to entertain on the online environments, for example. And then how do we can, let's say, to participate, or how do we manage the time in part of the academic calendar duration? Is it we can have similar academic calendar with the online environment, or with the physical academic calendar with the students? Is there any differences between online learning and academic calendar with the physical students? I hope the question is clear to you. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just rephrase and make sure I'm understanding. So the question is related to kind of comparing online versus face-to-face. And in particular, it's related to kind of duration and also engaging our learners. Did I get at least 75% of it right? Okay, I'll take a C. I'll take a the academic. Oh, the academic calendar. Oh. Well, we could be talking about this for the rest of the afternoon. I love the question.
Because we believe that online learners, they have flexibility in their own pace learning, right? So they will be different with the physical learners.
Yeah. So I always start this out by saying, oftentimes we might encounter myths related to online learning. One of the myths that I've encountered at my institution is that I have several myths. One is that online teaching and learning is easy. You just take what you did face-to-face and you put it online. Okay? To do good online teaching and learning is not taking what you do face-to-face and just putting it online. Okay? And so I think your questions are spot on. Is it the same? No. So the first one was related to duration of class, right? So we've got several classes in a course. We know that student attention is about how long? How long? 10 minutes, 20. Some of the research says don't go more than 20 minutes before or 15 minutes before you engage students in an activity, right? So you do 10 or 15 minutes of content, and then you do an engaging activity. And that needs to be really thoughtful in the online environment. How are you going to do that? Oftentimes what we find is as we are doing that instructor development, that one box that I showed you, instructors are like, no, 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 I have to keep that in my class. I have to keep that in my class. And our course designers go back to what are the primary learning objectives to your course? By adding more, it's not necessarily good, but focus on what they need to know. And so we often have instructors that do 20-minute videos, but then they supplement it with the activities that go alongside that. So oftentimes we think, I get up for my 50 minutes and I talk and talk and talk, and then they leave. It's different in the online environment. I think the other question that you asked was in relationship to kind of maybe the length, there's one aspect of how long is the session or the class, which short, multiple chunked piece of information versus long. And then is it maybe related to how long the course is provided? So like our institution, we have 15-week semesters. But if we look at the literature, our online students are looking for 8-week or shorter courses because, again, this is in my example. I don't know if that's the way it is here. Our learners in the United States are not taking full loads. They're not taking the 9 credits or the 12 credits. They're usually taking 1 to maybe 2 courses at a time because of all these other things that are going on. That's all they can take. So they're looking for shorter 6 to 8 week courses, taking 1, maximum 2 courses at a time. So shortened time because they're taking fewer. And so that expedites kind of how we structure our course online as well. It also expedites our work in assessment, because then we need to get things back to them sooner, because they turn in one thing on Tuesday. We want to get feedback to them before they need to turn in the next thing at the end of the week, right? So again, there's changes and considerations on both ends. So I believed I talked about duration of class, length of the course, engaging learners, right? We do it in a different way. So for example, I teach face-to-face. My engagement of learners might be, here is a question, a critical thinking question. I've just presented some content. I'd like you to get in groups and talk about it. Then I'll have you report out. In an online environment, I might say, we've talked about this. I teach a leadership and management course online. I might say, we've talked about transformational leadership. And these are folks that are working. And then I'll say, next week, I would like you to prepare a reflective paper on how you've observed transformational leadership in the workplace and evaluate or apply the model in your writing. Okay, it's different, right? It's different. We can use videos, and we can have stops at videos and have them reflect on it. We can have discussion boards. How many of you use discussion boards online? Why don't you use them? I'm saying that very facetiously. Why don't you use them? Do you know what they are? Yeah. Why don't you use them? What? You use chat, group chats. Okay, you have to have discussion. Okay. Okay. But what is the downside of using those chats? Or we call them discussions. Less personalized. How do you grade them?
Rubrics.
Rubrics. Do they take you a while to grade? I don't know, but when I've done discussion boards or chats before, it takes a long time to grade, unless you're asking them to give a one-word response or a one-sentence response versus a reflection. So again, thinking about cost benefit, are they learning from it as well? I don't know if I answered the question. I hope I did. I'd happy to meet with you afterwards as well.
Okay. All right. Prof, can I ask a question as well? Because it's regarding the question posed just now. Sorry, the questions aroused just now. Because just now, I think madam over there asked about because face-to-face, we have to be in campus. Okay, there will be a semester, the duration of the semester. But what about the online learning? Do the courses available all the time? Or you still have the semester that they need to fulfill? And also, what about because I think most of those joining these online courses, maybe they are working adults. So what about if they miss the classes? Do you have any recorded videos about the classes, and what's actually the requirements for them to successfully complete that course?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So lots of questions in there. So the first one was about my jet lag is it's getting better. So the first one was about do online courses run the full semester? Because we have a structure at our university, just like most universities do, and courses generally are to run the full semester. So again, we are challenging our systems at our university because again, to do this well, our learners are asking for shorter courses. So we have gone to some half semester courses at Iowa State, and that works well for our online courses. So, you know, that's related to that piece of it. I think the other question was related to synchronous versus asynchronous. Our online learners are asking for asynchronous. They are employed, they're working. It's very difficult for them to get online and join at a particular time. And then when you think about having students that are not in the United States in your course, you all are getting on at midnight for a lecture that's happening at 1 p.m. at Iowa State University. That is not a student-centric approach. And so oftentimes if instructors do have that synchronous component where they require students to join at a particular time online, they survey the students and they say, what time are you able to join? And they do it only for a certain number of times throughout the course. It's not every week because it's very challenging.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. Okay. I have two important questions here. All right. Hello, Prof. Aaron. Thank you for your valuable sessions. May I know what are the administrative challenges you have encountered so far in handling the online unit in Iowa State University? Example, country's policies, staff's IT skills, and etc.
What was staff what?
The examples are country's policies, staff's IT skills, staff's IT skills, okay, and etc.
Okay. Thank you. You know, as I think about reorganizations within any type of business, they're never easy. I went through a huge reorganization in a hospital that I was at. I will first of all say I was amazed at how smoothly this reorganization went at this very large institution. That said, yes, there were administrative challenges. I'm not going to lie. In relationship to policies. So one of the things you noted was that we brought individuals, staff in from those decentralized units. All of them had worked under different policies. Some of them didn't have policies in their units. And they said, why are you doing this? We were trying to standardize policies across the university. So to be honest, some of the employees said, I don't like this. I don't want to be here. And they found other jobs at the university because it was hard for them to accept new policies that we were putting in place so that we could have consistency across the institution. In IT staff and skills, boy, that's a tough one. We have a central ITS unit at the university, which handles most of our work, but we need to work very closely with them and in collaboration with them. We are trying to hire someone who is in IT just for our unit, because what we're finding is the university IT support is they've got lots and lots of work to do, and we really need someone dedicated full-time to us. And we're having a very challenging time hiring a person with the skills that we need. That's across the United States. And part of that too is we made a commitment that we were going to be in person. We are not work from home. And so we have some units across campus that are fully remote, fully work from home. And some of our staff, some of our employees would prefer to have many more work from home options. And so that has been another challenge. I think, recognizing we've gone from decentralized to a more centralized approach, some of our faculty and staff have had a hard time accepting it. I know for myself, I would just walk up a couple stairs to my College of Human Sciences staff person that's supported online. And now I need to go more centrally to our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. I know who to go to because I work there, but that has been a transition for faculty and instructors as well. And so there's been, it's growing pains, but I think overall, as far as a reorganization goes of this magnitude at this large of an institution, it has gone very well.
All right. Thank you for the answer, Prof. Any more questions from the floor? Because I have one question as well from YouTube. Okay, I think maybe we can just proceed the last question, or you can receive any more questions from the floor. Okay with that. All right. Okay. The questions by Mr. Dahlan. Could you elaborate on how Iowa State addressed this pressing issue of maintaining the integrity of online assessments to ensure fair evaluations of students' knowledge and abilities?
Yeah. How do we maintain quality? How do we maintain rigor in our online environment? Excellent question. So at Iowa State University, we have a couple of processes in place. Some of our courses go through the Quality Matters certification, which is a certification that says this is a quality course. That's one way. We have peer evaluations of teaching where colleagues evaluate our teaching, whether it be in the online space or whether it be face-to-face. But ultimately, it comes down to the instructor. So we have that instructor development unit within our Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. There's a lot of instructor development opportunities and ways for instructors to learn about assessment techniques and how they can make sure that they maintain integrity. But ultimately, it is up to the instructor, and we do not mandate. We cannot mandate that instructors go through any development, any instructor development. So we do have options for them, but it is ultimately up for the instructor to take advantage of those options.
All right. Okay, thank you for. I think it's already 11 in the morning. I think we have come to the end. All right, thank you for answering all the questions brilliantly and also very detailed explanation, I would say. Okay, I hope this sharing will benefit all academicians and also the students as well. Okay, please, Prof, we may take a break for a while before we do the closing ceremony. All right. Kindly be informed that these sessions or this event is a collaboration between Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management UiTM Pulau Pinang and also Center of Flexible Learning CFL. Before we end the session, we would like to share you a promotional videos from the Academic Affairs about the Center of Flexible Learning, and please enjoy. All right, thank you for the video. And please be noted that the QR code for the attendance will be displayed between 11:15 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. All right, thank you so much for your kind participations and also attendance. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to invite Prof. Aaron again to the stage to receive a token of appreciation given by our head of program, Ms. Nurliana Hashim. And with that, we